The purpose of this video is to run through an application called SQL Bulk Update. And basically, this application is used to create update queries quite quickly, where you have conditions and where you have settings that you want to apply to basically an overall database. And it works with multiple different databases. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to show SQL Server Management Studio just as an example. So effectively in, say, SQL Server Management Studio, you have tables where you're going to have your column names, you're going to have your rows with individual entries that have gone into it. And this database here is very much looking at a machine. And it's looking at inspection results from a machine. So that'll basically be the example. And the application, it basically will reach out to an actual database, and you can save the connection string in the application, and then you can save the actual update queries themselves and then quickly select them, moving kind of back and forth. So for anyone who does update queries, you'll find that they can be done, say for example here, inside of, say, the likes of SQL Server Management Studio, but it can be quite cumbersome because you can look at the files and the creation, cannot be straightforward, especially when you're kind of strongly typing, and so on. So I'll give an overview of the application. So all connection strings are stored effectively in an underlying database, which is encrypted, and you effectively open up the connections here, and you can just create your connection string. So the actual interface and the settings available and so on will depend very much on the type of database you're using. If you're using Oracle or using MySQL or MariaDB, etc., it'll change to a certain degree. So effectively then, the way things work is that you will actually then load in all of the different column names from an individual table. So the connection itself will have a name, but as you set up the connection, you will always be selecting a table name in a specific database. So here, say for example, we have something called Vision Inspection Batch Record. And then if we look at it in SQL Server Management Studio, you can see that that's the actual name of the table. So the connections are table specific when they're actually saved. So effectively then what you're able to do is you're able to take columns here, and you're able to bring them, for example, you're able to bring them across. So say for example, if I had Part ID here, I'd be able to bring it across, and then I'd be able, if I didn't want it anymore, I'd be able to bring it back. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually show an example of it actually being in use. So I will open up an application which goes basically with a system, and it's almost like kind of like a digital twin as such. And here what we're able to do is we're able to create devices. So we're able to create, and they will effectively go into this particular table here, and it's replicating basically a vision system, doing data entry during each kind of inspection that will occur. And basically what we'll do then is we'll open up a screen which is very much looking at the live values for, say, a batch that has to be processed. So say in our example here we have a trolley, and the trolley has 10 different components on it, and what we're able to do effectively is we're able to kind of bring through an inspection. So what we'll do here is we'll just load a part, so we can see that we've loaded a part here. Then what we'll do is we'll move it into the inspection area, so we can see that our component has gone into the inspection area. Then what we'll do then is we'll open up an actual data entry screen. So for our part, which is this guy right here, we'll just put in some values. So say for example, we'll just put in some values here. And this is all, again, simulation, just to make sure that the actual logic works correctly. And we will basically put in a time essentially here, yeah. So we'll go in like that, and we'll hit update, and effectively what we'll do here is then we'll pretend that that data entry was effectively a camera doing an inspection on this particular component. We go verify results, we can see that it's a pass, and then effectively what we'll do is we'll unload the part, And basically what we can see is that the output buffer trolley actually got a component. And effectively we'll be able to kind of see the details up here. So this is very much kind of like a norm. It's where basically this application is able to model a process and model other kind of third-party applications that can interact with a machine. And if we go back to our actual application, if we want to be able to kind of put everything through, so we want to process things very, very quickly, and we might want to do it from for visual data, maybe some, analysis tool, maybe some charts and so on, like a dashboard. If we want everything to be very kind of quickly done, we can go in and we can go into a query list here. And say, for example, if you watch the screen update in real time, maybe we want to do a batch completed. So we want to see everything completed and have the data for it. So we just go select. And then effectively what we'll do is we'll bring over this screen here, put this guy on top, we'll just go update. It'll show the actual query itself then after being loaded in. So he's after coming in, we'll just hit refresh here, and we can see that the batch has actually been completed. And we can see that the output buffer then is completely full. Then maybe what we want to do is we want to do a reset because we want to do further testing. So basically what we're going to do then is we're just going to go into our query list. Then we'll go off and we'll go back to batch reset. We'll select him, close him down, hit update. And then effectively we go back and everything has been reset for that batch ID and the quantities are basically filled there. So that's an example of this application being used. Now it can be used for lots of other applications, but that's effectively a very useful way to interact, say for example, with some kind of execution system like an MES or some kind of a lower level kind of DCS component related to batch data, or some kind of even standalone system, standalone HMI. It's very, very handy for changing the data during development testing, or if you're going to actually add some features and you want to see how the effect will actually occur in a simulation environment.